everybody, and welcome back to the Triforce podcast, episode 101.
Finally.
We did it.
Finally.
That's right.
Finally done.
We did
the live show at YogCon. It's all done. All the hype was not worth it, and we had a mediocre show. It was fairly
a different
mediocre
show.
It was just like every other podcast. I don't know what people expected.
Consistently mediocre.
Consistent mediocreness. Well, it's different being on stage, you know.
Yeah.
It's a bit intense. It's like the lights are all on you. You feel like you get instant feedback on all the laughs.
That was
You know,
weird.
sometimes you make a joke and no one laughs, and sometimes you just say normal stuff and everyone laughs, and it's like, people are just laughing at my normal stuff that I didn't intend to be funny.
Yeah, you get a good gauge for why people find you funny and to see if they're laughing with you or at you, right?
Yeah, definitely different people laugh in different
Times.
bits.
Yeah.
Different people have different sense of humor. I think it was different for the audience. I spoke to some of the audience guys and they were like, it was really nice to watch it with other people, but they definitely weren't laughing at the same time I was sometimes, or they were like,
Right.
Some people said I laughed more when I was at home. And some people said they laughed more when they were here in the audience. It's weird.
I find that I laugh a lot more if I'm in an audience. Like if I go to see a comedian and I'm seeing it live, I'm laughing my ass off. Whereas when I watch it at
the
home,
laughter's infectious, right? Other people laughing makes you laugh sometimes.
I think maybe it's a different thing though. Like I can see that some people might feel uncomfortable, but normally like in a crowd, you feel like you can just, you know, laugh along into the crowd.
It's obviously a social thing, laughing in a group. You know, you're all sort of saying, hey, we're all on the same side here. And also, I think a big part of laughing is saying, I'm not the butt of this joke.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
Haha, I'm safe.
Yeah.
You said but.
I honestly really enjoy doing the Triforce and chatting to you lads, because it's like an hour of my week when I'm not focused on anything else other than listening to people talking and just having a chat.
Yeah.
Because normally I'm doing something else, playing Dota or cooking dinner while my kids are, you know, talking about something. And it's difficult to just sit down and have a conversation.
I think that's,
I actually find it very therapeutic.
We do a lot of streaming and a lot of other things, and there's always something in the background. Whereas actually this is kind of like even like a lunch meeting or something. You're all like thinking about what you're gonna have for lunch. You're eating lunch. You know, sometimes you can't get a chance to actually just talk.
And speaking of lunch, yesterday I was scrambling around trying to find something to eat for lunch.
Some eggs.
And there was like a sandwich in the fridge, like a store-bought sandwich.
Old?
And it was like some sort of like roasted veggie on tomato bread thing.
Okay.
But you know when you buy a sandwich, like a box sandwich, and it has like it's like a triangle shaped box and it has like the little window and stuff. And you can see there's like a lot of moisture inside the packaging. Sometimes you open up the sandwich and the bread is all soggy and stuff. Like if you haven't eaten it straight away, because it was just in the fridge.
Never seen
so
that.
So I open this thing up and I take a bite and like it's like when you use Wonder Bread for your hamburger bun. You know what I mean? Like the burger's too juicy and it makes like the bread all soggy and stuff. It was like that. It was really gross. I took one bite and I was like, I can't eat this. I was in a real funk. I was like depressed, just like, you know, sort of like lumbering around in my kitchen trying to find... So
you had like hunger depression because there was nothing in the kitchen.
But it needs to be something quick though. You know, I wasn't going to prepare something. So
you need like a piece of fruit. Like a banana or an apple.
Yeah, well, listen, I open up the cereal cupboard just on the off chance that maybe there's something in there. And what do I see? I see Dorset muesli. Like, have you ever seen this stuff? It's like
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Dorset County muesli or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of
simply
like...
fruity.
I love it.
So I'm like, what the fuck? Great. So I pour a bowl of this muesli and I poured some whole milk on it, okay? I'm not using I'm just going whole milk now because I just find it tastes better on cereal.
It does taste better.
And holy shit, it was so delicious that it made me think of a classic Wu-Tang Clan track called Method Man. But I've done a remix of it.
What is this anecdote?
You've done a remix?
I've done a remix of the opening of Method Man to celebrate Dorset muesli. Are you ready?
Please share this.
All right, ready?
Yes,
lead me in. Do like the piano bit and the tick 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 tick, and I'll do the opening bit. Okay.
I can't do a piano bit. I don't have a piano.
All right. Okay. All right. Ready?
You do it.
From the slums of Dorset, Muesli Man strikes again. It's roasty, it's toasty, old fruity bastard, peach parfait, made by a chef. Good God! Oat face killer and the Muesli Man. Muesli man. Yeah? You like this? Yeah. Woo!
All right,
Man,
somebody remix the hell out of that, please.
It was life changing. I
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I love the
Oh
way
my
you're
God.
eating muesli and what pops into your head is the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, Muesli, man. I was loving it. Man, I loved it so much. It was good.
I can imagine you just like bopping around the kitchen, like just with a grin on your face because you've got a mouthful of cereal, just crunching down on that.
Yeah.
Bopping.
sips.
Bopping.
I can
That's
see
exactly the
it
same
so
kind of word my
clearly
mum
in my
uses.
mind.
Would be the word bopping.
I was bopping big time. Yeah, just love it so much.
Big bopper.
Yeah, so it was a real nice one. It's turned out to be a real good lunch in the end. I was no longer depressed after all of that.
That's really good to
all
hear.
it took was a simple remix and some muesli, and bam, just right back at 100%.
Simple muesli-based remix. I like to think that the Wu-Tang Clan would be delighted to hear that, other than the 36 chambers or whatever, muesli in the 36 cupboards of sips.
Man, I love that intro too. It's so iconic, isn't it? With all
they're great,
saying all the names and stuff.
Wu-Tang for life.
Wu-Tang forever, baby.
I'm a big fan of ODB.
Yeah,
rest in peace.
This is just a beautiful window into your life, isn't it? Really,
man, fucking rest in peace, ODB. Absolutely, man. I feel sorry for ODB. He had such a bum deal in the end. Like he clearly had some mental problems. Like I think he was diagnosed schizophrenic and stuff. Like while he was in jail, but leading up to him going to jail, he was so fucking like unhinged and stuff. And then when he came out of jail, like, there wasn't that much money left, and then he just fucking OD'd on like cocaine. Like what the hell? I didn't even know you could OD on cocaine.
You know, I feel like the guys that were around in that era, that sort of golden era of hip hop and rap, they seemed more heroic to me. Like I aspired, because they were so cool, and you knew that they were they were like real people. They didn't feel manufactured. It felt more to me like a bunch of guys
back then.
that were like literally either from the streets or they were friends. And it felt real to me. Whereas I feel now it feels a bit more manufactured with all the auto tuning and stuff like that.
Sure, but I think
I look at
nowadays,
the Wu-Tang Clan and those kind of guys, and I think, damn, these guys were for real. You know,
I was watching an interview with Wu-Tang, and it was on like MSNBC or something like that, and they were talking about things that we should not like or whatever. It was like some segment on the show. It was like we have to do away with or something like that. And they were talking about like GM foods and like all this stuff. And then I think it was Inspector Deck said something about like hating on the old school. Like apparently this is a thing with like new wave hip hop or new rap. They're like they're trying to like get away from like the golden age of hip hop.
Yeah, I bet they are, because it's a horrible comparison for them.
Yeah, they're trying to like
they're
trying to like wean people off of it, sort of thing, as if to say like, oh, it doesn't matter, we're here now and this is what it is, and like we're better or whatever. But like, what? It's you can't like we don't just like ignore fucking the Beatles and like Led Zeppelin.
I'd like it if authors did that. You know what I mean? If authors just suddenly started trashing all the guys that they'd read these guys were listening to that shit growing up. You can't turn around and say they all sucked.
Yeah, I know.
And we're better. Just, pay some respect, man. Come on.
Yeah. So they were just saying like, it's not right. They paved the way, they put in the work. Like when it was not even a popular genre of music, when it was up and coming and it was just considered
politicians wanted to shut them down and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and they had to work really hard to get their name out there and get signed to labels and shit like that. So it's like, yeah, it's a weird one. I was surprised. I just thought, what the fuck? Like I thought everybody just, respected these guys and what they'd done and everything, but I guess
hate
not.
to hear about that kind of beef.
Yeah, that's
my money's on the OG lads, because I tell you what, there's no way these young guys these days are going to compete with people who actually grew up in Compton. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, if you
I don't think they need to, though.
NWA will fuck them up. I don't care if he's dead.
Have you seen Old Town Road?
Is this like a folk band from... What are you talking about?
So number one on the US Billboard is it's been number one since I don't know if it's still number one, but it was number one since March, like a record. It's been like 17 weeks.
What is it?
It's a song by Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X. Is he related to like Nas, or is he?
No, not at all.
Why is he Little Nas?
Why is he called
that's what he's called.
Lil
just calls himself that.
Nas X.
Yeah. So it's okay. So it's like
what's
a viral.
What's the song called? Old Town Road.
Yeah,
he's got another song here with 138 million listens called Panini.
I do love paninis.
Oh man, I love paninis as well.
Maybe he's literally just rapping about the things he can see.
Which one is it? The Old Town Road remix or Old Town Road?
Just Old Town Road. Yeah, it's like basically it got popular. It went viral on like TikTok, I think, or something like that, because everyone was like posting pictures of themselves like as if they were riding a horse and stuff.
Right.
And it's about horses, obviously. People have been like asking him, being like, what is it about? Is it about like
I heard
is
this,
it like a metaphor for something? And he's like, about horses. It's just about horses. It's like he's like 20. He's just like a viral meme guy. It's weird. And, obviously he's come out and become like this big star about it. But like, we live in a world where people can be like anonymous. You don't have to live in Compton. You don't have to, be part of that neighborhood to be hugely famous in like the popular music scene.
I mean, you could be like Muesli Man and just come from the slums of Dorset, the Dorset coast.
Exactly.
You can come from anywhere nowadays.
Dorset's a beautiful county. I wouldn't hear a word against it.
Yeah.
I would love it if the Wu-Tang announced their new member, Muesli Man.
Muesli Man.
Spit some hard truths about muesli.
Exactly.
Oh
I don't know, like that whole like I think rap and this sort of world has always thrived from the drama, right? And benefited from the killings and the early death of the artists, and like they're very rough, like offensive, like rivalries and stuff with each other, and
beef.
the drugs.
They call it beef.
They call it beef.
Yeah, and the lamb, and the chicken, all of it. I don't know, like it's kind of, it's still a part of it today. Like you see like the more controversial, the more ridiculous the people are, sometimes the better they do. Like people who are like 17 and covered from head to toe in tattoos and piercings, like
what's that lad called that's got the number 69 tattooed all over him? I hesitate to say his name is Lil 69, but I suspect it is
Lil 69X.
Yeah.
His name is 669.
Yeah.
6ix9 INE. Yeah.
Oof.
Takeshi 69.
Yeah. Is that 69. So? What are these all like internet names? Like, are these like their?
That sounds like a forum user.
Quake clan names that have just they've just reused. Like if I use mine, I mean, I guess I use mine right now in my capacity as like a really young, fresh, attractive internet celebrity. Like I still use my internet name.
It feels like you can.
You don't really use yours anymore, though, Lewis. You just like everybody.
Yeah,
just
I haven't
referred
to you as Zephos in a very long time.
Yeah, me neither.
Well,
man.
that's true.
I mean, Lewis is such an iconic personality.
Thanks,
now,
guys. Yeah, I came up with it. My parents came up with it.
Yeah, well done.
Wow, God, how did they do it? Like, what do you think motivated them and inspired them to pick that name of all the names?
But like, do you think that all you need to do for Muesli Man to be like successful is just be as offensive as possible, right? Like just incredibly. But that's what it is. Like these modern rap songs are like,
look at Kendrick,
they're like
man.
about
Kendrick's not mindlessly
having
offensive.
sex with bitches. Like
I don't know, like Rakim as well. He was never overly offensive. He was just like he just had like amazing flow and lyrical prowess and stuff like that. He wasn't.
I don't think it was.
Like,
I don't think they
you,
would.
Fuck your mother.
No, I don't think they were back in the day.
Stuff.
But I think some of them now feel like they're incredibly aggressive and like deliberately.
Nah, it's always been like that. Look at gangster rap and it's always been very aggressive and
gangster
hardcore.
Rap hyper
that end
aggressive.
Of it.
Yeah,
that end of it. But there's always been rap that's really thoughtful and smart. I mean.
Like Jazz Mataz and like a lot of East Coast hip hop early on. Like Jungle Brothers and like Tribe Called Quest and stuff. They were all really chill. Like it was real hip hop that wasn't. didn't have like any sort of like organized crime leanings or aspirations or anything. Like there's definitely
Far Side, they were a good example. They were just they were great.
Yeah, there's definitely like a line where, you know, like you're either one side or the other, and that would be like, you know, hip hop and probably gangster rap, you know, like NWA.
I guess you just there's nothing, there's no other like genre of anything where crime is, apart from maybe like the mafia kind of being cool, where crime is like celebrated, you know, maybe the Yakuza or something.
What about like folk music, old folk music, like
cowboy music?
Not like celebrated in the same way, not like I'm gonna fucking jump in my whip and mow you down with an Uzi and stuff like that, but it's like, you know, like, yeah, kind of like old folk songs about like small towns or whatever. Like there's definitely some celebration of like sticking it to the man, right? Like the like social movement aspects of it and everything. Like
Muesli Man should do like white collar crime.
Yeah.
Like I'm
gonna
insider trading.
I'm gonna do some insider trading and I'm gonna beef up my stock portfolio. Then I'm gonna do some fucking tax evasion.
Industrial espionage. Gonna lobby the government to get lower taxes on my businesses.
I mean, I will say, right, like grime, which is big in the UK now. Grime is kind of pro-crime.
Grime is pro-crime.
Yeah, it's always talking about knives and beef and
grime
and stabbings and shootings.
Yeah, there's like
that's true. You're right. You're right. But that's kind of in the same. I don't want to say the same world as rap, but it is. Grime is definitely
it's in the
feels
same vein.
More or any. I guess any other medium. You know, I guess there's not like too many. Like there's a lot of video games that you play as like a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And you can be like in Yakuza. Or I don't know, like lots of things like Fallout and The Witcher, like role play games. You can play as a criminal character,
or do
and
like
GTA.
Nasty things. Like
GTA is a really good example of something where you can just
exactly,
you know, do horrible stuff.
Yeah.
So I suppose it does exist, and that's one of the most successful games of all time, GTA. Yeah. But they've never paid. I read this week that Rockstar never paid a single.
Yeah, I read that too, and worse
Can
still,
you believe it?
Worse still, they got money. They got funding from the government to help them out.
But from the Scottish government?
No, from the UK government.
From the UK. I thought they were based in Scotland.
Yeah, but there's not. I don't think that, like, you know, we're a United Kingdom, Sips, right? So it's.
I know, but they've got their own like. Scotland, like they've got their own assemblies, right?
Yeah, they do, but I don't think that means that their taxes just go to Scotland. That's the
no.
point.
I know, but I think that they can put together schemes for like, you know, funding.
But this was UK wide,
right? Okay.
Because at the time they knew that the games industry was like a growing industry. It was doing well in the UK, so they gave them some like tax breaks and they gave them some funding to help out and say like, you know, let's grow this industry. And Rockstar was like, we'll have that money because why wouldn't they? But then they literally paid zero tax, like none, and they've made billions from GTA and Red Dead and all the rest of it. I'm astounded.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I'm just disappointed.
I don't know. So Old Town Road, guys, it's quite a big deal. You should listen to it.
I've heard
it before. I didn't know what you were talking about at first, but
I didn't realize it was so big.
I have heard that song before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's a sign of the times, guys. Like, you know,
it's a sign of the times.
It's like anonymous. It came out kind of fairly just
that was a Prince song
out of nowhere, and I guess that's this is the world we live in. You know.
Yeah.
It's exciting to hear, like, to have like people, you know, not to have the establishment just get everything for free because they're the famous guys. And
so he just came out of nowhere with that song and everybody loved it and they listened to it. Yeah, and now he's a superstar.
It's really short as well. It's like
pretty good.
1 minute 50 or something.
I feel like that like Ninja was a lot like that. Right, like I was talking about him over the weekend because, you know, like he's moved over to Mixer. He got a deal, Microsoft to start streaming on Mixer and stuff. And I remember when PUBG first came out and we were playing it, and I was doing what I do with every game like that I start playing. I was playing it and then I'd have a stream on in the background. And there were a couple people playing it at the time. I was watching like Sacriel, remember?
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
He's still going. Like he's not gone. But he was playing it a lot. And Ninja was playing it too. And I guess Ninja was like a big Halo player or something. I don't know much about his background.
Halo 3, I think. Yeah, he was like a professional.
So he's playing PUBG and he had a decent amount of viewers. Like he had like 2,000 viewers or something like that, and was like, okay, cool. And he seemed like pretty good at the game and stuff. And then fucking a couple of weeks later, like when the Fortnite Battle Royale came out, I just like immediately thought, that's gonna be garbage. Like I played the PvE Fortnite and it was fun enough, I guess, for a bit, but I didn't put much stock into the Battle Royale. And then all of a sudden he was just like #1 on Twitch, and it was just I just found that crazy that his rise was just so crazy. Like it was just all of a sudden it went from like having 2,000 viewers to having like 80,000 viewers all of a sudden.
It's nuts.
Like it was just
I think it
overnight.
definitely went hand in hand, though. I think him and other people streaming the game and the game itself being like very well built for an audience. It's the same thing that happened with Minecraft, really. Back in the day, there was certain. But like us, we got big from Minecraft in the same way that he's gotten big from Fortnite. But it did help that he was a pro gamer. Like,
for sure.
People wanted to watch him to learn how to get better. Yeah, because that's a big reason for people to watch Twitch.
That's why they watch us.
That's why we watch us. Yeah,
the Twitch culture is different like that, isn't it? On YouTube, it's much more personality driven.
Yeah,
on Twitch, it's personality driven to a point, but definitely
for the mass audience, I'd say
definitely
it's
favors pros.
Better,
It's interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
I think he's obviously on the right time zones as well. I think we are here in Europe are not as well fitting into time zones.
So what you're saying is the reason I don't get 80,000 viewers is because I'm in the wrong time zone.
Yeah.
I'm bad at games.
And there's no possible way for you to have blue hair either, Flax, at this point.
I'm literally rocking the least fashionable haircut there is.
Yeah. Because blue hair seems to make a big difference. Like all the big YouTubers
I think I could be
streamers.
his dad. Like, how old is Ninja?
He's like 25 or something, I think. Like
he is 28. So if I had him when I was 15,
that's possible.
He looks like the son I may have had when I was 15. You know what I mean? Like it was an accident, but we were like, we'll try our best.
I knew somebody who had a kid. I knew like a couple in high school.
I know lots of people.
16 years old and they had a kid, so it's not impossible.
I know lots of people, and they honestly, one of my very oldest friends, one of Mrs. F's oldest friends, she had a kid young. Turned out fantastic. Kid's great. She's doing great.
Right.
It's one of those things, but I still wouldn't recommend it.
They got married.
No, but I really wouldn't recommend it.
It's definitely people are having kids later and later.
Nowadays
That's something which is
not that people were having them at 15 regularly when we were younger.
I think it was like back then, like, but my parents, it was like you pretty much got married when you were 18 and then went on to have like 10 kids. Like I think that was just the day and age back then, right? Like,
yeah.
Remember my grandma saying that like she got married young. They didn't have any mod cons, so she had to like use a washboard to like do the laundry all day and make her own bread and shit like that. And they had like 10 kids. They lived on an army base and stuff. And it was like, okay, grandma, that's just so utterly crushingly depressive. Thanks for telling me this. But she was happy for it. She seemed like fine.
I don't think
they didn't have anything else back then, I guess. So
tough.
They didn't have WoW or like iPhones. They didn't have Tinder or anything like that. They didn't have any of the modern sort of like time wasters and things that prolong responsibility in adults and stuff like that. They were just ready to go. It's like, I'm done school. All right, I'm gonna go work at the box factory for 80 hours a week and fucking gonna have a wife at home who wears a dress down to her ankles and fucking uses a washing board to do the laundry. Cool.
The box factory.
Yeah, the old box factory, eh? The American dream.
Always there for us,
Always there.
Everyone's gonna need boxes.
Yeah, that's it. You need boxes for everything. It's crazy.
God. Yeah. I need some boxes. I need to have a tidy up.
Man, most things wouldn't even sell without the boxes. Like, so important. It's crazy.
I'm gonna have a big office tidy up. I've decided.
Yeah.
This weekend. Yeah, I just wanna sort of get a little bit of a big sort out of all my crap.
There's a lot of crap in that office. It's got to be said. Even my kids, who are owners of a lot of crap and leave stuff lying around everywhere. We when we were in Bristol for a YogCon. I think it was like Thursday, maybe it was Wednesday night last week. We came by the office, but it was like 8:00 and there was like there was barely anybody there. There's a couple people like getting ready for the weekend or whatever.
Right.
And so I showed like my wife and the kids because they hadn't seen like the new office, right? They'd only been to the old one.
Right.
So we had a look around, and they were pretty impressed and stuff. They liked it, but they both turned around to me at one point and said, "Why is there so much stuff in here?" And I said, "You know what? I don't fucking know. Like, there's just so much shit in here. Like, you thought our house was bad. This is crazy. Like, there's crap everywhere."
What do you mean? Like,
Oh God,
what kind
there
of
was,
crap?
like, clothes all over the place. There was just like food, like, half open food laying around all over the place by computers and stuff.
God. The kitchen is a disaster.
Well, think how many people work in those offices.
I know. Well, this is it. There was like shoes all over the place. There was like just toys, Lego and crap all over the place.
Of toys. You look at Tom and Ben's desk area.
I know. It's just like
just toys.
Kurt was looking at your models, Lewis, your painted models and stuff. He liked those.
Oh yeah.
And I told him that you paid people to paint them for you. He seemed seemed devastated by that. But
well, I've done like one shelf myself, but they take a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that like I've kept one of my armies fairly pure.
Nice.
Which is like, but the rest of them, I just
couldn't be fucked.
I just can't be fucked.
I've got money, so I thought, you know what?
I met the guy that's painting your models at YogCon.
Yes.
Yeah, nice guy.
Well, who was he?
Man.
Describe him
He's
to
a
me,
fan.
so
A
I can.
shadowy figure, clad only
Right.
in black.
He had a long leather jacket on, and when he opened it up,
Toys.
vials of paints.
And everywhere he went, he was stood upon a small
Little
piece of
loops
square plastic
to hold
with
them
little
in.
tiny rocks glued onto it.
The painter. That was him. Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I've got a lot of different hobbies,
Right.
but I think that painting models is something I struggle with. I think because it's such a fiddly little thing to do. Those people who paint like on a flipping pinhead or whatever, and they do like amazing.
Yeah,
little
they
tiny...
draw like a picture of Jesus on like a pinhead and stuff.
I'm shaky. My hands are shaky enough as it is. Like just from all the stress of this high profile, public figure job.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I'm not very steady handed. I've never been able to really draw or like have any artistic kind of, real
We're not judging you,
skill.
Lewis. I don't think anyone should judge you. No one.
Don't worry.
No one.
I do
is
feel a
judging
bit bad about it.
Don't worry.
It's embarrassing.
Don't feel bad
It's
about it.
just an element of your hobby
Man, I was
that you're
just
not all
joking
that
around.
interested in.
Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
fine.
mean
I
to
know.
like
Chill.
open
some wounds.
start a
It's
chain
okay.
reaction.
I feel a bit guilty about it.
Why do you feel guilty about paying someone to paint your models? There's nothing to feel guilty about there.
I don't know. It
Don't worry.
It doesn't feel genuine. Like, but at the same time, like, these guys who I like to support their career in a sense, because it's pretty tough to make a living, because people don't really value, I think, your effort. If you paint tiny toys, it takes fucking ages.
Yeah, it's a
and
craftsmanship. Damn it.
people don't pay you like what it's worth. Like
You
I think that
didn't.
if you
You need to be like
Well-
Lester on The Wire to enjoy a hobby like that, though. You basically have to enjoy it on somebody else's time, right? Like otherwise, you just feel like, fuck, I could be doing like something else right
But
now.
like I feel like it's a common thing on the internet to like undervalue other people's time. They're like, oh, can I get a logo? And they're like, that'll be like 20 quid. And they're
For
like,
exposure.
what? I'll only give you a tenner. It's like fucking this took me like
fucking
2 hours
sucks.
of work. I've kind of I've probably spoken about this before, but if you wanted to buy like a proper painting from like a proper shop, you could look at like 500 quid for like a painting. You'd be like, holy shit, I'm not paying 500 quid for a painting. I could just get a print from IKEA for 19 quid or whatever. But when you look at it, that's like 500 quid. That's like, that's how much we pay our artists for like a week of work, like that's how long it takes, it takes like, it's not easy to do this. And these people have got like a lot of skill and
Reward
a lot
people
of
for
time and
their
effort.
skill
into
and
it.
talent and hard work. Damn it.
Yeah, reward them.
think
I
that's
know,
fair.
it's funny. I mean, that's something that robots won't be able to take over, I
Hey,
think.
talking about robots, that reminded me of something. I don't know why robots reminded me of something. I've been reading about, CERN and the Large Hadron Collider. You know about this?
Yeah.
So, in case anyone out there doesn't
Wait,
know, the Large
didn't they-
Hadron Collider.
Yeah, well, didn't they have some problems with it and they couldn't do the collide? Like they
Oh,
had
that
to-
was ages ago. They're colliding all the time.
have
now,
their
right?
collide? Are they in full collision?
colliding
mode?
like crazy.
Right,
They're
okay.
literally
They're like
colliding
two.
right now.
They're like two bunnies just going at
So
it.
wait,
Yeah, they're
isn't
colliding
there
all the
like a risk that they can like tear a hole in the fabric of time by
no,
yeah.
so no, there
practicing
isn't.
such sorcery in
No.
Europe?
There is. It's like a 0.00001%
Right.
risk.
So
yeah.
this is funny because if you Google CERN if you look it up on YouTube, I should say,
Right.
I'd say the first 20 or 30 results, there might be one video that's actually related to CERN, and the rest are pictures of demons coming out of portals and 2-hour-long videos, which are going to be amazing, of some guy saying, the scientists at CERN are seeking to destroy God and stuff like this.
All right, I've done a Google image search for CERN right now, and I gotta say that all of these pictures are incredibly impressive. Like, what is all this stuff? There's pipes and wires and like people with hard hats.
That's the accelerator.
All right, okay.
That's the accelerator. So it's like a huge, I think it's 26 kilometers long, and they accelerate these hadrons up to near the speed of light, and then they use magnets to narrow the beam of them so that they're likely to collide, and then they run them through these pieces of machinery that are able to see these collisions. Because they're obviously, we're talking about at the atomic level, you're trying to catch a snapshot of what happens when these things collide, and they're looking for consistencies, because that means if you see the same things coming out each time, those things must be inside the other thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're trying to find the subatomic particles, what's inside an atom, and when they bang them together, these little quarks and muons and all the rest of it
here, I found it.
Spiraling out.
UFOholic.com. CERN's Awake experiment accused of opening a Stargate and causing
all this. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing.
I don't even want to go to that site. I'm just like,
no, don't.
No, I'm not.
No, so I mean, I think the LHC has been featured quite heavily in sci-fi and like books and things about time warps and all sorts of shit. Like it basically, like there's one thing about time travel, which is that one of the theories about time travel is you can only time travel as far back as the first time machine was built. You see. So people think that people use the LHC as this idea that you could warp into it somehow, but it's not really built like that. It's more like a kind of very fine cable, about sort of tiny millimeter wide, and then a huge array of like magnets and cooling chambers and stuff like this, for 17 miles,
right?
To accelerate a neutron or an electron or some incredibly small particle to very close to the speed of light, and then do it in the opposite direction as well and smash them together.
Right. So if they could go back in time, then theoretically, they could go back in time and pay for their harshest critics to get laid, so that when they come back to present time, they're not so much of a problem anymore, right? Because all of a sudden it's like, yeah, okay, I actually don't really care about this anymore because I got some 25 years ago.
Sure.
Yeah. What are you saying that you want to, or they could go back in time and all these scientists could get laid, so they wouldn't have to do all this nerdy stuff.
Well, no, not those guys. Like, I want the actual scientists to keep doing the work. But what about like all these guys that are saying like, oh, they've opened up a portal to hell and stuff? Those guys.
I don't think they're critics. I think they're idiots.
They're just morons.
Well,
they're having like,
okay, maybe poor choice of words, but like the theory still stands, right? Like, is that?
Yeah, I agree. I think the main problem is that there's a group of people out there who, if they had their way, if they'd been around, say, 100,000 years ago when we mastered fire, they would have said we shouldn't mess with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's always been that group of people who see any scientific progress.
What's wrong with just eating like raw stuff,
food's fine. Raw food is
like,
more
why
healthy.
do we want to cook warm stuff up? What's the point? All you're going to do
Why does it have to be fire though? Why not just like use the power of the sun to heat up a rock and then use that as a hot plate? Like, so it's like half cooked food. You know what I mean?
If you live in a cold climate?
Well, I don't know. Just move, I guess.
Fucking move.
Just fucking move, you dummy.
You're right. These are the kind of stupid fucking idiotic arguments that people come up with and are able to kind of posit forwards as reasons for why, dumb stuff. Like that's the problem we have at the moment with climate change and all these other things, that people just don't believe. So many people don't believe that it's a thing, and it's like, what?
I'll tell you, but it's purely because everybody apparently these days, their fucking opinion is worth something. It's not.
I write a daily
blog. Your
blog.
opinion is not worth something. It's not about your opinion. Oh, in my opinion, climate. What the fuck do you know about it?
Yeah.
Shut up and listen to people who've actually studied it and listen to them.
Let's get out of this.
It just drives me mad. Stop I don't care about your stupid opinion, idiots. The idiots' opinions should be disregarded. We've done that, and we got this far, and now we started listening to the idiots again.
Well, I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree here, Flex, because so I've got opinions that I hold dear to my heart because sometimes I read something. Not even, actually. Sometimes I hear something on the radio.
Sometimes I overhear someone else listening to something on the radio.
5 seconds of information. And I've got this unique ability. I don't know if you guys have this, where the mere mention of a topic, I master it almost straight away. I know everything there is to know about it.
I give it a few seconds thought, and because my brain is such a galaxy brain, it just... That's it. I've cracked it, and I've made up my mind.
I got all sorts of like dormant information because like I think my brain was like part of a supercomputer in a previous life or something. So it's all just waiting there to be triggered.
It could be that, or it could be another dimension like CERN leaking into your brain.
Somebody mentions climate change, and all of a sudden, the archives boot up, and like all this information is available to me, and it's like I'm like Johnny Mnemonic. Like I'm plugged in. I see the Matrix.
Johnny Mnemonic. What a reference.
I know what's going on.
Oh my God, what a reference.
That was weird because like Keanu Reeves had this, like a lot of these actors, they had like a fallow period where they were like, oh yeah, Keanu Reeves. Yeah, he did Point Break and that was kind of big. And then he started making things like Johnny Mnemonic, which was garbage. And then along comes The Matrix and Keanu Reeves is suddenly a superstar again. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Johnny Mnemonic. Okay, in 2021... Okay, this is when it's set. Johnny is a mnemonic courier with a data storage device implanted in his brain.
Yeah.
Guess how much it can hold? This was written in
1 terabyte.
1995. It can hold 80 gigabytes.
Wow.
Okay.
80 gigabytes of text is a lot, though. Like if it's text information.
He acquires a compression unit that effectively doubles the amount he can
But
hold.
I'm pretty sure Johnny Mnemonic had like YouTube videos playing in his mind and stuff as well. So like
that's
they
right.
Would have been,
because
they would have upped the storage.
They need him to carry 320 gig.
Right.
He accepts this, knowing that the overflow will be uploaded directly into his brain.
I have the information, but it's so fragmented. I have to watch it at 420p because I don't have enough storage.
What a world where that was like 80 gig.
Yeah, well, wait. When did that movie come out, though? It was a long time ago.
Must have been. I'd say 90.
Yeah, I remember seeing the VHS at like
95
Blockbuster for that, like when it came out.
It's only 96 minutes long.
Yeah.
They used to make movies short. They used to be an hour and a half. If you went over that, it was 2 hours was like quite a big deal.
Movies were shorter.
Yeah, they were.
Like, do people nowadays have like movies these days? Like Avengers Endgame is like 3 hours long, right? Like. Is that standard now?
I think they try to compete with docuseries and stuff, like drama series, right?
Box sets and shit, right? So people don't just want to throw away cliche. I think, honestly, audiences have genuinely matured where the things that we accept as television and that can get into are more complicated. And I'm not to say we're smarter, but I think the way we consume television has changed. I mean, think about, I know people will have their opinions about the way Game of Thrones ended. I don't want to get into them. I wasn't happy with it. But anyway, the point is, that was a lot of TV. And a lot of people had watched it and were invested in it. And that's unheard of, really, in the past, to have a TV show that runs for that long and is that detailed and has that much sex and violence and complexity. And movies have gone the same way. I mean, you can say what you like about Avengers, but if you look at the superhero movies and even the action movies in general that were big in the 70s and 80s, there's no friggin' way that any studio would have said 3 hours and you want like 15 movies? Yeah, no problem. Like everything's changed.
Everything's changed.
It seems a bit. The Jurassic World was only just over 2 hours.
It was garbage. When I was watching it, I was thinking, I could really use another hour of this shit. They just knew it was garbage.
Jurassic World, I don't even think I saw it. I can't. I don't know if I've seen like that many bad movies. Like I just have
excellent taste.
I guess I just pick the good ones, or like I don't know. Maybe I still use like Rotten Tomatoes to get like an idea of how things have been.
I use
reviewed.
Metacritic is what I use that quite often as well, because that's quite good. That like takes the average of all the reviewers,
right?
And you can see like the guys from the Christian Gazette didn't like it, so I'm like, oh, this is probably pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can find all the different reviews out there.
I can't like most movies I go to are kind of like I don't go to many. So that's the thing. Like, it's not like I don't go see a movie a week or something like that. I guess some people
Nah.
do that. Like, fuck, what the
I
hell?
used to when I was at university.
Sure.
We used to go all the time
Sure.
to the movies.
We were talking the other day about good war movies, and like
There's not many.
Somebody was saying that they didn't like Saving Private Ryan. They didn't like the story in it. Some people didn't like the second half of like Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
And somebody was saying they didn't like Apocalypse Now, which is kind of crazy. But it's a weird one, right? Like older movies, like I can't remember if a movie is good, or I can't say for certain that a movie is good, because if I watched a movie when I was like 18, at the time it might have seemed good. But if I were to watch it now, I might think this movie's garbage. Like, I don't even know why I liked it in the first place, sort of thing, right?
And there's a bit of nostalgia as well.
I guess so, yeah. But like
when I watch Arnie movies, I still love them for what they are.
Yeah.
Like The Running Man is objectively a terrible film, but I love it. Because it's just Arnie. He's just very watchable. It's such a stupid movie. And, I used to love it when I was like 14 or 15 when I watched The Running Man.
I liked Commando as well when I was...
Yeah, that's a great movie.
That was a good one.
So the movie that, for some reason, I've told this before, that I always ended up watching was Jason and the Argonauts. Right, so it's like, for some fucking reason, it was like, my parents got a new TV. It was a huge CRT thing, and we had everyone over, like my cousins and my uncle and stuff, and we all watched it, just turned it on, because we didn't have a VHS player or anything, but we just watched TV, and it had just happened to be Jason the Argonauts on there, and we just watched it fucking loads of times. I was talking to Ben last week, and he's been painting up like an army of like stone statues and skeletons, kind of Jason the Argonaut style, like stuff.
Right.
And while he was painting it, he watched it with his son, who's like 4, I think. And it holds up fine, actually. It was like stop motion animation on the creatures. It wasn't CGI, but it wasn't in that era when it was bad CGI.
Yeah.
It was like, it's 1963, so it was before any CGI at all. And so they had to use kind of these weird, like janky stop motion effects. But actually, they like weirdly, it's weird how like that still looks okay.
They were
like,
revolutionary at the time. Like, it was Ray Harryhausen became like a household name because he has an awesome name, and also everybody that saw the movie was like, this is incredible. Like, this is really good. And like you said, I think as well, if the acting and the way it's shot and everything stands up, it doesn't matter if the effects aren't great. I mean, if you look at the original Star Wars movies, the effects aren't great.
Oh man!
But it's like it's enough. I mean, the lightsaber effects to me are still absolutely phenomenal and 100% stand up because it just looks so cool.
The original Star Wars looks fine. I mean, it was been remastered twice now.
The remastered fuck off.
But like it looked great to begin with, apart from certain bits like the original Jabba and stuff was a bit of a disaster.
Well, that wasn't in the film. Bear that in mind.
Oh,
but the bit where he's walking.
So you're talking about the re-release, like when Han walks around the back of.
That's right. He's walking.
None of that was
around
in the original movie.
Mos Eisley,
that was Lucas messing with Star Wars. So, by the way, talking about reboots, they're talking about remaking The Matrix.
What?
Yes. So it was 1999 it came out.
They
want to do it again. That was 20 years ago. In Hollywood terms, that's eons, so they may as well remake it.
The Matrix was, talk about cult films like Jason the Argonauts. The Matrix, I watched The Matrix in philosophy class at school because it was this kind of like thing that was like considered to be an interesting idea.
It was a genre, it was huge. It was The Matrix was so big. There were references to it everywhere. The whole bullet time thing was blew people's mind. The Matrix is a huge movie.
Yeah, the bullet time, and also like the scene like where they're fighting through the lobby and stuff.
Yeah,
those
iconic action sequences. I still watch The Matrix and I still love it.
Remaking and rebooting stuff blows my mind. I don't understand how anybody can get excited for it. Like, it's like with WoW Classic and like Warcraft 3 Reforged and stuff. Why? Like, you can play these games. Well, not WoW Classic, I guess, but like. Well, just play them. They're there. They exist. They've already been made. You're going to pay money to play these games again and watch these movies again, and they're not going to be as good as the originals.
But you're not the audience for the new Matrix.
I know, but still,
I mean, if you showed the Matrix to a bunch of 14-year-olds now, they'd be like, "This is lame." But if you redid it with Chris Pratt or someone, I'm sure they'd be like, "This is not lame."
This is awesome.
This is pretty rad.
Oh my god! So in The Matrix, Keanu Reeves and Hugo Weaving both got injured training for it. Keanu Reeves got a fucking cervical like neck like compression
Cervical?
and had to have neck surgery.
Right. His cervix was compressed
spine.
during
His
the
cervix got compressed by
during the filming of The Matrix. Nice.
He had a 2-level fusion of his spine, which began to cause paralysis in his legs.
Christ.
So he had to have neck surgery. Hugo Weaving had to undergo hip surgery after he sustained an injury. And then obviously, I think part of this obviously caused them to be a little bit like, I guess like not stiff necessarily, but apparently like Keanu Reeves didn't kick much in the movie. But I mean, I wonder whether stuff like this like ended up actually enhancing it, you know, because it made them feel more kind of...
A lad with a dicky back and a guy with a bad hip have a fight.
Yeah, it made him feel more like computerized, you know, in a sense, like in that world. It didn't feel like it was just... You know, everything about The Matrix did feel like just had that little tinge to like that it was in the digital world, you know, like gave it away. Like just everything about it, man. Sorry, I'm just thinking about
No,
The
that's
Matrix.
fine.
I
I wish they would stop this. I can't wait for this like trend to end, the remaking of things.
It's not a trend. They're never going to stop.
It's garbage.
It's always happened. They've always remade movies that did well. But The Force Awakens is a Star Wars remake. Jurassic World is a Jurassic Park remake.
It's almost
they
like
feel
the
like
flipping the Jurassic World. I was like, it's the same movie.
What
Like,
they
it's
just
literally the
wait,
same
that's
movie.
Jurassic. I've never seen it. I thought it was just like a continuation of the. So what? They just remade.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be, but it basically feels like
it feels like a continuation in the same way that The Force Awakens feels like a remake of Star Wars.
I mean, they did
it's
Jumanji
fine.
again. They did Jumanji again.
That's right. Yeah, they redid Jumanji. They did.
We could literally
Total
list remakes all
Recall.
day.
They redid that. Didn't they redo
did, yeah.
RoboCop as well?
They did. Yeah,
RoboCop, yeah.
It was.
I mean,
terrible.
obviously, like there are continuing series too. Like James Bond 25 is coming out in like next April or something like this. So that's something which is an incredibly long running series. How many James Bond movies are there now?
25. Given that you just said it's called James Bond 25.
Fuck yeah.
If only we knew.
30, 40.
The next Bond, at one point, people were saying like it should be a woman, but apparently they've said that it's never going to happen.
It's Daniel Craig again.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because weren't they going to get Idris Elba to be Bond at one point, or they were talking about it?
Everyone thinks Idris Elba will be Doctor Who or James Bond. Everyone he's tipped for everything, and they did make a lady Doctor
He'll
Who.
always just be Strang to me, old Stringer Bell.
Stringer Bell.
Stringer motherfucking Bell.
You got the floor.
Yeah, that's good. The Wire. I heard The Boys was worth watching.
Flax is
It's
telling us
excellent.
about that. Yeah.
I caned through it. This was actually at YogCon. I watched like 4 episodes a night.
Ah, boys.
Probably why I was so tired, but it is excellent.
Right.
It is such a good series. It's only 8 episodes long. Perfect. I don't want to flip in 22 episodes where it's all dragged out. It's a really good, tight story. The characters are excellent. It's based on a comic book that Tom said is really good. Tom Clark. He was like, yeah, I read the comics. They were really good. And he was asking me all these questions. Is this in it? Is this in it?
Garth Ennis, who did Preacher, which I loved. And Preacher has been made loads of times
But
to me.
I didn't like the TV
movies, and
show.
It's been terrible.
But I've read all the Preacher comics, and they are bonkers.
I read
and
them
they
all.
are great.
Yeah, they are good. It's quite dark, I hear, which is quite nice.
Preacher is proper dark.
Nice.
Yeah.
The Boys. I'll have to check
The
that out.
Boys.
I haven't been watching anything. I think the last thing I watched was season 4 of Gomorrah, which I binged through in like 2 days. I loved it.
But I've been watching The Office. My kids really like The Office for some reason. Even though when I watch it with them, they're not laughing much.
But the American
They're just kind
one.
of watching. Yeah, they're just watching it. And I'm just like, do you guys get that? Like, so many of the jokes go straight over their head. But they just love it. They sit there with a grin on their face watching it. They laugh at like the more sort of obvious slapsticky stuff, like when Dwight punches Michael in the stomach.
Yeah, a bunch of people at YogCon told me that I should watch the US one. It's good.
You really should. It's good. It's very funny.
So when we did the last Triforce that we did on stage, and I was talking about backwash. Remember, I started talking about backwash and drinks.
Yeah.
So this girl comes up to me in one of the signing queues, and she's like, "Oh, Sips, nice to meet you." I was like, "Yeah, nice to meet you too." She's like, I had a real problem with the Triforce Live. And I said, "Oh, what, you didn't like it? Like, was it no good or whatever?" She's like, No, I liked it. But the backwash story was so gross that I had to get up and run to the bathroom and almost throw up. Like, it just
Oh my god.
triggered something in me.
Oh my God.
That
It's like the exaggerated laughter.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
people,
And
but also the exaggerated.
I just thought
of
that was
everyone in the
crazy.
audience.
I don't I can't recall a time where I've ever told a story that's made somebody feel physically sick. So I don't know.
Well, that's because you just don't know who was listening.
I guess
do you?
I
You've
guess
no
so.
idea.
Yeah. So I just found that really interesting that somebody almost was sick off the back of the backwash story.
I'll be honest with you, watching Lewis eat that can of corn with burger sauce in live on stage when we did, I can't remember, what was it, one of the proper job segments?
Yeah.
I was actually gagging.
Really?
Like I actually was like,
I was gagging.
Like I was actually retching. It was awful.
That was awful. That was so bad.
Jeez.
It doesn't even sound that bad, but it was.
It was
real
so
bad.
grim, and I was like, "There's no way I could do this. Like, I would literally be sick right here on stage if I did that."
I don't know. Like I would gag if we were on stage and there was just like an open diaper full of shit on stage. That would make me gag. I would be like,
It never bothered me. The diapers.
the smell
Never
of
bothered
puke
me.
makes me gag a bit as well. Like especially if you have to clean up like your kid's puke. There's no getting
very
around it.
contagious.
Puke never smells good. Right?
I think it's deliberately.
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, of
Because I
course.
think
That's how
if
they
you're in a
design it.
tribe of people and one of them's being sick because they've eaten something bad, you should probably also be sick before you get
But
sick.
isn't it
And so
crazy?
I think-
There's probably like sub communities and videos out there, people who like sex puke and like drink puke.
That's a big thing.
That is so gross. And then the
Yeah.
shit eating as well. Like
Oh my god, it's so
putting
gross.
shit onto a baking tray and putting it in the oven and stuff. Like what the fuck?
There's a website I go to called The Worst Things for Sale,
Yeah.
and there's a penis attachment that turns your urethra into like the sprinkler on a garden hose. So you
my
put it
God.
down your dick hole, and it takes the pee and sprays it out like the end of a watering can, the way it's sort of perforated like that.
Right.
Fucking
This is
what?
a thing that people need in their life, apparently.
What the hell? What site is it called
Because
again?
if you're peeing on a lot of people, I guess this is more efficient.
Maybe it just keeps your pee quiet,
No.
so you don't wake up your spouse
Yeah,
in
but
the, in the
think
night.
how big your toilet bowl would have to be that you're not just peeing everywhere.
Oh man.
Maybe you want to water the plants when you pee. I'm just thinking of alternative wholesome uses for that.
There ain't any. I'm sorry.
So what? It
Okay.
makes your pee like sprinkle, like post sex pee, like that, where it just like it sprays everywhere because
Right.
yeah.
I don't know if putting this in would help or just exacerbate the situation. Also, it would be incredibly painful to put a little metal
Yeah, I
thing.
wouldn't want to put anything in my dick hole. Like
No, please.
it's like a form of torture,
Nothing.
right? That's what they do when they apprehend you and they want to find out the state
They
secrets.
put candles down there, right?
Tell us the secrets. No, I will not.
I'm just-
And then they put like a
Then it is
rusty.
happy birthday to your penis.
Yeah, then they put a
Happy
rusty dart
birthday.
into your dick hole, and they're like, "Now tell us the
They
secrets."
put a candle. They put
Yeah,
a
they put the
candle in
candle.
there.
One of those ones that you can't blow it out. You blow it out and you think, phew, and then it relights.
one drop of
A relighting
one drop
candle.
of hot wax onto your dick hole. It covers it up.
Oy.
Ay ay ay.
Oh,
Ouch.
I think a
Ay,
lot
ay.
of men have just clenched their buttocks
Yeah, sorry,
together
we've ruined
in
the last 5
terror.
minutes of this podcast by making people think about all of the worst things they can.
What's
For
the
that, we
new like?
apologize.
Back in the day, you had like rotten.com, right? Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
It's
Oh, let's not even go on to this. Fortunately, the internet is much safer
Right,
now.
okay.
There are dark areas that you can go to if you want to, but there used to be a time when we were constantly being shown shock images and all this
Yeah,
horrible
yeah.
stuff. But man, do you know what the internet is? People are a lot better nowadays.
they?
I hardly get.
What are you
I hardly even
talking
get
about?
rickrolled.
it's gotten a lot
You know?
worse somehow.
You're crazy.
We've evolved
What?
past needing to see shock images into like other things, right? Like I don't need to go into details.
You're very, very far away of the mark
Backwash,
there. And
backwash videos.
talk and stuff.
People just getting loads of backwash into
Oh,
their drinks.
And on that bombshell,
Oh my god. Imagine in Star Wars, the original movie, you know, when they get pushed into like the garbage chute or whatever. Imagine instead of all garbage, it's just backwash down there. Like just those big chunks of like oh my god.
And there's just a bit of corn in
Please
there
no.
and burger sauce.
this poor girl is having a run off again.
Is this cola that we're in? Oh my god, what are these chunks?
Oh my
It's
god!
pasta.
I think it's just the language you use, like saying chunks.
Chunks.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
I just
know,
don't,
it's
I think
gross.
chunks is just a very unpleasant.
I just tune out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, sorry
Anyway.
to the nice lady that I spoke to that I almost made barf. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel sick to your stomach.
You just did it
off the
again,
back
though. How
then.
sorry are you? You literally just brought it up again.
She could just
Much
fast.
like someone
you can't
being
fast
sick.
forward a live show. This one she can, right? She's like, oh shit, he's about to talk about it again. Just skip.
It's true.
You know, skip.
True.
It's close enough to the end of the podcast that she can
She's
just
probably
skip
fallen
the rest,
asleep
you
by
know.
now anyway. Like,
Yeah, let's be honest.
Most people skip the last 5 minutes of podcasts because they're all full of fucking ads.
I find
anyway.
we come to life in the last 5 minutes. I think our last
'cause we
5
know it's
minutes
almost
are
over.
like, you know, pretty
The golden time.
golden time. Yeah, absolutely.
Here's an advert. We
Golden
still have
hour.
a Patreon. Don't forget.
Although we
Patreon.
did start off
We do.
strong with Muesli Man. That was like at the start
that
of
was
the
good.
podcast, right? So, oh well.
with the wrap. Yeah.
Also,
don't
the
forget.
Bodega book shipped like 2 days ago or yesterday or something.
Nice.
So,
Oh, so by
if you
next
ordered
week
it,
we'll have an
yeah,
idea of
you should have it.
what the feedback
The
is.
reviews will be out. I can read some. They're going to be horrible, I know, but we'll see. The idea of reviewing the book is very scary to me, but we'll see. So we'll read those next week.
Okay.
There you go.
Good.
That is it. Thank you. We have a Patreon. You can support us if you want. PFlax needs some money. And PFlax, you're in China next week, aren't you?
Yes.
Next week already. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I had to sort out visas and stuff like that, so I'm not flying out when I thought I was.
Right.
But I will be flying out at some point next week.
Right, okay.
And then I'll be gone
So we might
for a week.
not have a podcast.
We might
Oh,
not.
you're only there for a week? I thought it was 2 weeks.
No, well, it was going to be.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, visa things.
Visa,
It's okay.
Visa things.
It's
Vis-a-vis.
It's fine.
Ripperino.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye!
Love you lots.
Goodbye.
Bye.